Good morning and welcome to your late morning intuitive guidance, Holy Buckets. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with some words of wisdom much later than usual because I am in the middle of Date with Destiny, a Tony Robbins program, which the man is killing us. So I think we finished somewhere around 2 o'clock-ish this morning, and so trying to be up and ready for 5:15 was not gonna happen. So here's me taking good care of myself. We'll see if anybody pops on. My usual crowd is ready at 6:15, and it is not 6:15, so we'll do what we can with it. So our card for today, lovely card, but let's take some breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. CJ, yay you found me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. My intrepid practical rebels, much appreciated. There's Barb. Good morning, glad you're here. Welcome. I didn't intend to be this late, but as I just said, we went until like 2 o'clock this morning. So yeah, so a little frazzled, and yeah, my hair isn't even dry yet. Anywho, I'm appreciating the divine feminine. I am so appreciating the divine feminine. And that's not to take away from the divine masculine, because we all need both, right? Hello, Cindy. Glad you are here. Welcome. We all need both, but the preponderance of divine masculine, and some of it edging way into toxic masculine, makes me appreciate divine masculine even more. Good morning, Angie. Fabulous, huh? I feel like I've been rode hard and put up wet. Everything hurts because we're jumping around, carrying on, yelling. So I still have a voice. He doesn't have much of a voice, but I still have a voice. But yes, so I'm wiggling to get all the knots out. It's pretty intense. Learning some wonderful stuff, things that I will over time share with you also. But this, again, as I said yesterday, this is requiring significant energy to not get turned off by how some of the message is being delivered, toxic masculine, but hear the message anyway. And I think we're going to have much opportunity for that in the next 4 years. How do we hear what may be some valuable messages, like there's probably excess in the government and it would be good to trim that back, but not get caught in the vitriol of how that's delivered. How some of these things are going to be accomplished are probably not going to be pretty. And so we need to be our strongest selves. I think we need to be in channeling more divine feminine, the linking of arms, the making of community, the what do we as a community need to grow and prosper, and how are we going to make that happen. So today's card is so spot on, and I gotta tell you, it's funny. The universe has a sense of humor, right? So I don't remember when we last had this card. We had awakening recently. I remember that one because I had that sitting on my desk for a while. And I remember being irritated when I pulled when that was the deck that guided me to pick it that last round. And here it is again, and I was irritated again. And it's like, okay, why am I irritated with the soul coaching deck? What my soul wants me to know. And the interesting thing that occurs in many Tony Robbins events is the emerging of that stuff that we've kept in the shadow, and then tools and techniques to address it. And many of his are the divine masculine tools and techniques. I feel like mine are more the divine feminine tools and techniques, but he does have that divine feminine part of himself also. It just seems to be less accessible in recent programs. Anywho, different things are going to work for different people. So I'm wise enough, I can do some translation in my head such that the material sinks in a way that I can consume it. So the card for today, we've got soul coaching. Denise Lynn, what your soul wants you to know. Take a breath. Out. Oh, I felt that slow everything down. Take a breath. Out. Just settling into your wise self. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Awesome, awesome. Our card is beginnings. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. One of the things he also does is uses music very effectively. So the song that popped into my head, or the lyrics that popped into my head when I saw our card today was, every beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So there's always an end that precedes a beginning, right? So rather than lamenting the end, we can have some sorrow about those endings, but know that what's coming shortly thereafter is a new beginning, So I cherish all the cycles in my life. And that was one of the things that we talked about also, was seasons in our lives and seasons in the life of the world, Earth. And there being some patterns that are probably just a little too long for us to really grasp it, because they're about the length of a human lifetime, which we've talked about recently, haven't we? So same kind of a thing. And what is the value of each of the seasons, and how is it applicable to all areas of our lives? So I'll just pick one because it's one that's stuck in my head, that he mentioned in Business Mastery, but now he repeated here in Date with Destiny, which is that the preponderance of the Fortune 500 companies were companies that were founded in the winter season of this pattern. And the reason being, the winter is the hardest time. And one of the other sayings that, and I don't remember who said it, but he repeated it, is abundant times create weak people, and difficult times create strong people. And then the strong people tend to do what's necessary to make for good times, which then means their children end up being the weaker group, the ones who are indulged, etc., etc. And we see some of the effects of that at this point in our time. Around and around we go. But the businesses that are founded in the winter, if they can survive, because most businesses die within 5 years, right? So if they can survive that winter season, they're golden. They're pretty golden. Yes, you have to keep up with what's changing and what people need, etc. But I just thought that was so interesting that businesses founded in the winter were far more likely to be found on the Fortune 500. So, beginnings. Take a breath. Excellent, excellent. Card meaning. A new cycle is beginning in your life. Wipe the slate clean. It's now time to release the old and start again. And does it not feel like our times are pregnant for change and for new beginnings and for the old kind of crashing and burning, to put it bluntly, and new arising? We're going to have some phoenixes coming up out of the ashes here, right? So for us to adjust our mindset, our perspective, beginnings. I cherish all cycles of my life. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Cindy. To put ourselves in the position of looking forward to the new beginnings and preparing ourselves for those new beginnings. We did this amazing exercise yesterday where we were looking at like our top emotional motivators. What are the things that we are seeking, looking for? Is it love? Is it validation? Is it affiliation? Cooperation? What are the things we're looking for? And what are the things we work really hard to avoid? Shame, humiliation, anger, frustration, confusion, whatever. And then taking a step further to figure out what our rules were about that. How do we know when we're loved? What are the operational definitions of these things? And the insights were amazing. I'll share one of mine with you. I would have said that success is one of my primary motivators. But going through the exercise, what I saw was affiliation, connection, cooperation, love, all those ones were far more valuable to the wise part of me. And then there's reasons why I run into dissatisfaction when I'm going for the success stuff, because that's not really what motivates me. But in our environment, in our zeitgeist, that kind of gets fostered, right? So interesting stuff, very interesting stuff. So back to beginnings. Life goes in cycles. In the phases of the earth, the plants die in the fall so that there can be new birth in the spring. It's the universal dance of death and birth, rebirth. There's a time to end and begin, and this is the close of one cycle and the beginning of another. And if we are so into certainty and staying safe and the comfort zone, when this card pops up, we're going to freak. We're going to freak. No, I can't let go of whatever it is that you're schlepping along with you that really isn't serving you, but you're afraid to let it go. That idea of we have to let go, be willing to let go of the shore in order to sail to distant lands. You don't get to sail to distant lands and then you can let go of the shore. Ain't how it works, right? And we do all manner of stuff that kind of reflects that. Well, I'll start a new relationship and then I'll let go of the old one. No, that's not how that's supposed to work, right? So, being willing to acknowledge there's an ending coming. You can feel it, can't you? So the way things have been is no longer sustainable. So some of those things are going to be changing. And are they necessarily going to change for the better, whatever better is, because there's a bazillion definitions of better. Good morning, Morgan. Glad you're here. Sorry to hear you're not feeling well. Everybody send some good energy to Morgan. We got the green snotties going. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, being willing to let go of what no longer works. Definition of insanity: keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Let it go. If you can stop banging your head against that wall and turn your little bloodied forehead to look around, you might notice there's a whole lot of other doors, and there's windows, and there's entryways, and there's all kinds of stuff available. Survey your environment. Stop staring at the door that has closed. Stop staring at that door that is closed. Lament the loss and move ahead. Move ahead. Look for what's presenting itself to you in that vacuum that was created by what's no longer there. All right? All right, let's see. There's a time to end and begin. And this is the close of one cycle and the beginning of another. Although it's often difficult to release familiar routines, situations, or relationships when they no longer empower you, your soul asks that you not cling to the old, but set sail into new waters. Face your fear and allow yourself to stretch in a new direction. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Do you remember being a kid and having growing pains? That was uncomfortable, but it was necessary. Otherwise, you would have stayed the same size you were. Things get uncomfortable when we're growing. Be willing to embrace that discomfort. Be excited about it. I can't tell you the number of people on these calls that I can see in my feed, the Facebook or the Zoom feed. When are we going to do this? How come this is taking so long? What's the next step? What's coming up? Always wanting to know ahead instead of being present in the moment and really experiencing that. And Tony's a master at fucking with your perception. You think it's going to go this way? You think there's an agenda? Nope. He's going with whatever comes up at the time, and you can go along for the ride or you can fight the ride. You get a choice. Face your fear and allow yourself to stretch in a new direction. Your soul is at your side, and wonderful opportunities will be born in your life. Wholeness occurs when you can say yes to both endings and beginnings. Yes, patient young grasshoppers. And interesting, you can see, we did this other thing, it was related to colors, and it was about your level of consciousness, and not necessarily designed to say that one level of consciousness is better than another. Different circumstances call for different kinds of consciousness. And one of the things I noted, and then he said shortly thereafter, was how often people overestimate their level of consciousness. There were a whole bunch of people who felt like they were yellows, which is almost to the top of the heap. And I would have pegged them down at least 2 or 3 rungs. And I was in the middle somewhere. Again, it not being really hierarchical. It's about flexibility and being able to move through what's going to serve this particular situation, me, and the others involved in this particular situation. How do I remain flexible and in flow? That woman word, flow, right? Wholeness occurs when you can say yes to both endings and beginnings. So right now, why don't you rub your hands, energize them. Why don't you put them over your heart? Why don't you take a nice deep breath and let it go. I want you to go to that still place within. Breathe in, breathe out. And being as open as you can be, stepping into your curious observer, being as kind and loving with you, the parts of you that are afraid, I want you to ask, what is my ending? What is at the end? What am I pretending not to know? What is ready to be done? And breathe. Just receive the information. You don't have to do anything with it. You have choice. One more. All right, and there it is. Yay you. Yay you for being willing to ask the question. Now you can take that information and let it sink back down into unawareness, or you can have it sit there with you, kind of like the pain thing. When it knocks on the door, invite it in. Ask it what it's trying to show you. Have it stay until you've learned everything you can learn from it. Then release it. So, what is it it's time to release? What has run its course in your life? What are you ready to be done with? And for me, it's that drive for success thing. Compete, 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 do, achieve, all that stuff. And interestingly, one of the things that he said yesterday that I thought, ooh, this is cool, is when you allow yourself to be truly in your divine feminine, that flow will help you accomplish more than when you're trying to falsely adopt a toxic masculine, be, do, fix, buy, consume, all that junk. You're going to get further, you're going to accomplish more by allowing yourself to be in the flow. Heeding the signals that are coming to you, responding accordingly, being in flow. So, that's what I'd love for you to practice today. The beginnings, being in the flow of moving from an ending into a beginning. There is a flow there. Feel it, feel into it, breathe into it. So you could even do some breathing and go, tell me more about this beginning. Tell me more about this ending. What am I ending? How am I best served by ending it? What's it gonna do for me? Breathe into it. Do some journaling. See what comes up. So that is our card for today. Tomorrow, I have no idea what time I'll be on here. If he's reasonable, probably not going to happen, then I would be back at my 5:15 or 6:15 Central Time. If not, it's kind of a crapshoot. So for a couple of days, you might end up watching replays if you miss me live. But once we get toward the end of the week, I will work to reestablish my routine and see what it looks like. So again, new beginnings, new beginnings. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Open yourself up to new beginnings. Bye-bye.